Now, Politico is reporting that House Republicans are beginning to fear for their safety from the mobs of people afraid of losing their health care that they gained under the ACA. This is an interesting story. Now, Politico reports that House Republicans during a closed-door meeting on Tuesday discussed how to protect themselves and their staffs from protesters storming down halls and offices in opposition to repealing Obamacare, sources in the room told Politico. Now, House GOP Conference Chairwoman Kathy McMorris Rogers invited Representative David Reichart, a former county sheriff, to present lawmakers with protective measures they should have in place. Among the suggestions is having a physical exit strategy at town halls or a back door in congressional offices to slip out of, just in case demonstrations turn violent. Having local police monitor town halls, replacing any glass office door entrances with heavy doors and deadbolts, and setting up intercoms to ensure those entering congressional offices are there for appointments and not to protest. Now, this is amazing, right? Hey, do we have any back doors? Just in case I need to slip out the back door. Just in case I get a constituent out there that's asking too many questions, or that's actually trying to be tough here. I got to get out of here. Do we have it? Do we have them? Do we have them? We really don't want to find, or we really don't want to tell people that we're taking their health care away. So I got to slip out. And we've seen that before. And look, speaking of health care, when you run on a platform of, we're going to take your health care away, that's kind of going to piss some people off. But seriously, though, the claim is that there's going to be potential violence. Now, look, I haven't seen a town hall get violent. Not yet. Can it get heated? Absolutely. In fact, the reason that they're doing this, I think, is because they've been getting a lot of backlash since they got in office. And now they're like, ooh, I don't really want to do these town halls where people actually yell at me. I'm scared. Case in point, in California, Representative Tom McClintock faced some tough questions at a recent town hall about healthcare and Donald Trump's agenda, and ended up having to be escorted by police because protesters were following him around screaming, "Shame on you." In fact, I do have a little bit of a video from that. And this is from a Twitter user named @2polomom. So let's take a look at this video that she shot. Oh my God. That is so scary. A mob of people shouting shame. Oh, and one tried to hand him a paper. Do you see how fast that van got the fuck out of there? Dude, hit the gas. We got to get out of here. Gone. Now, here's another one. And this is Representative Pete Roscom. Now, this next video, we're going to see him get out the door, right into his car. Gone.
Come out here. Yep. Is there a reason you didn't talk to any of us, man? Come on, yeah. Get him? Got it.
All right. So there you go. And look, throughout that whole thing, all I've wanted to do is just let's just play this.
Shame, shame, shame.
That and this.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Gone. He's gone. They gone. They don't want to answer any questions. They're getting the hell out of there. Now, look, notice in both of those instances at least, no violence. Nobody hurt anybody else. Look, they were just giving these people the walk of shame. Nothing wrong with that, right? And now instead of actually listening and saying that, oh man, there's a lot of people that are actually going to be hurt by our decisions. maybe we need to actually listen to these people and take their feelings into consideration. Maybe repealing ACA without a replacement is kind of a bad idea. Well, no. It seems like with these suggestions, they're separating themselves further from the people. They're going to build a wall. It's going to be a big wall. Now, let's go back to Chairman Mark Walker here. Now, he said, quote, the message was, 1, be careful for security purposes, right? Watch your back. And 2, be receptive. Honor the First Amendment, engage, be friendly, be nice, because it's toxic out there right now. Even some of the guys who have been around here a lot longer than I have never seen it to this level. Well, again, walking away, not exactly engaging. In fact, these guys were running out the door. Out the door. They're gone. They're gone. Now, he later added, for those of us who have children in grade school and that kind of thing, there's a factor in all this, saying how far will the progressive movement go to try to intimidate us? Amazing. This is what they think we're doing. This is what they think the protests are doing. You're just there to intimidate us. Oh, really? They're not actually there to say, hey, don't take away people's health care. No, intimidation. It's all intimidation. And surrounding yourself with police, that's not intimidating? These protesters have signs. Police have guns. What do you think is more intimidating? Seriously. And look, again, not everybody who's been helped by the ACA is progressive supporters, okay? You also have Republicans that found out the difference, who finally found out that, oh my God, Obamacare and the ACA are the same thing? For 8 years, we got told it was completely different. Well, I actually like the ACA. I didn't think you were going to get rid of my health care. No, I want to keep my health care. It kind of reminds me of like, hey, man, you voted for the leopards eating people's faces party, right? Yeah. Well, why are you so surprised when a leopard tries to eat your face? That's what you voted for. Well, I didn't know it was going to eat my face. Ridiculous. But look, I'm glad they're on our side now. Late, but look, those are people who are pissed. And those are also people who go and protest. And besides, again, it's not intimidation to protest peacefully. I'm in favor of nonviolent protest. And that's exactly what these people are doing. And look, you might not like what they're saying if you're that politician that's having your town hall being protested. You might not like what they have to say, but that's like your opinion, man. Doesn't really matter. And besides, conservatives did the same thing to Democrats when they were writing the law 8 years ago. You had Tea Party protests everywhere. And yes, those were mostly largely peaceful. And that was fine. So you didn't see Democratic politicians, as far as I know anyway, you can correct me if I'm wrong, saying, barricade us in the office. We don't want to hear it. In fact, you did have some reports, and they're contested reports, in 2009 and 2010, where some protesters were accused of spitting on and hurling racial epithets at Democratic lawmakers. Again, that's not violent, but it's also not great either. Now, Republicans, of course, deny the accusations. And now with this, they're making their own accusations and saying that, well, this could get violent. This could get violent. Hasn't gotten violent. Now, Politico also reports that another thing that they discussed was how to engage Democratic constituents to ensure that they feel like they're being heard. Speaker Paul Ryan, in fact, stood up to talk about how to engage constituents in a, quote, congenial manner. But again, is there really a congenial way to tell someone that, like, hey, man, we don't care if you have cancer or anything like that. We're going to get rid of your health care. And, hey, you might be worried about you reinstating lifetime limits on coverage and all that stuff. Well, again, we don't care because we're going to get a tax cut. The 400 richest households in America are going to get a $7 million tax cut per year if they repeal the ACA and don't replace the taxes. And that's one of the main things they want to get rid of. So that's what you have. And again, something tells me that Paul Ryan getting up there and saying, you know what, here's what we'll do. We'll pray for you. I don't think that's going to be all that popular. But right now, that seems to be the alternative plan to the ACA. But really, again, this whole thing about potential violence, it is a way for them to avoid addressing their voters, addressing the people that actually have a legitimate grievance. In fact, if anybody is using intimidation, it's the politicians, armed sheriffs. You're supposed to be listening and engaging with the people you represent, not running away from them. But that, of course, goes to who they actually represent. They represent their wealthy donors. I just mentioned, 400 richest households get a $7 million tax cut if they remove the taxes on the ACA. That's who the politicians work for, man. All they need is your vote, and that's it. Now, Reichert, in a brief interview after the conference meeting, said lawmakers are dealing with more than just unruly town hall meetings. He said organizers are coming into their offices unannounced, showing up with signs and flooding offices with phone calls. Oh my God, terrible. Danger, danger. How dare they hold up signs and call their offices? How dare they? You know, they were used to people just ignoring them. Now they actually have to try and deal with angry constituents. The horror. That's part of your job, dude. That's part of your job. Now, Reichert said that he told lawmakers that they should make sure you always have a back door if there's some sort of danger. Quote, it's not that you run from protesters, even though I just showed you a couple of videos early in the segment where that's exactly what they did. Run from protesters. But if someone presents some sort of physical threat or espousing a verbal threat that could lead to a physical threat, if you feel that you're in danger and your staff's in danger, call 911 and leave and go out the back door. Now, again, all we saw from these protests, shame, people shouting, shame. That's it. No physical violence, and they still ducked out the door. And it's pretty obvious that that's what they were doing. Now, Reichert also says, there's a mission out there amongst some people to disrupt the offices of certain members to make us look inaccessible, unresponsive, and like we're not doing anything. There's a list of things you can do to make sure your people are safe. Well, again, we don't have to make you look unresponsive and inaccessible. You've already done that yourself. You've essentially walled yourself off from these people. And yet he still says, quote, the biggest thing we can do is reach out to these people. But when you have 40 to 50 people showing up with protest signs, there's no way we're going to have an opportunity to exchange ideas and thoughts. So you've got to build a relationship where you don't get to the level they feel they need to threaten or antagonize you to try to get you upset and get a YouTube moment. Well, that's interesting. And that actually isn't bad advice. The thing is that you could start by promising not to take people's health care away. That would be one thing. Maybe actually have policies in place that don't take away health care, that actually help your constituents instead of rich people. That could help. Now, finally, according to those in attendance, they felt the presentation was important because it's not just the most politically vulnerable moderate members being targeted by protesters. It's that you have deep conservatives like Dave Brott, who had seen Democratic activists show up to their events. Now, many of these lawmakers, he also adds, are in safe districts that have never had to deal with such severe blowback. And that's the thing. People are actually awake now, and they're disgusted at what our politicians are doing, taking money from giant corporations and promising to repeal the ACA without a replacement. You're messing with people's lives, man. And look, the left, because of Donald Trump, has finally woken up out of their slumber throughout the 8 years of Barack Obama. Look, Obama put the left to sleep. And now we're woke. And we're pissed. And the thing is, the Republican Party, as of right now, is on the wrong side of policy. Now, personally, I love seeing these protests. As long as they stay 100% peaceful, I am on board, man. And look, I understand the need for safety precautions, right? I totally get that. But this seems like, again, more trying to wall yourself off from the people who do have a legitimate grievance about what you're actually doing. And they're just trying to hold you accountable. I'm 100% in favor of these protests. Stay peaceful, but continue to challenge them. Continue to make them run. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.